Hey everyone, it's Miguel here with Ready Edge Go to present this week's podcast. If you guys don't remember me from my introduction last week, I am actually one of the major advisors here at Ready Edge Go for biology and health sciences. Like I said last week, I'm currently in the midst of applying to medical school, and I really hope that I can stay here in California to study/practice medicine. But I guess we'll find out next year whether that happens or not. But my end goal is to become a trauma surgeon and really become a physician that advocates for the underserved communities, whether it be via a program I create, outreach, or really educating the general public of the health disparities that exist in medicine, biology, healthcare within the communities of color. But again, we're not here to talk about my passions or what I'm doing, but how can we here at Ready Edge Go help you guys to uncover your questions in biology or health sciences, to further your passions, already some interest that you have in biology or chemistry or physics. So I guess by doing that, I should tell you what I did when I was in high school and kind of tell you a little bit of my story. So I initially became interested in biology/medicine because of an anatomy and physiology course I took in high school. And I took this course, I think, my junior year in high school. And it was a year-long course, but what I remember specifically about the course was the cat dissection we did at the very end, and it was a 2-week dissection. And I remember all year long, our teacher prepared us for this dissection. We were going over like the integumentary system, the cardiovascular system, the digestive system, the central nervous system, all the systems of the body, and we were going to put them into practice and understand the anatomy of a cat. But what I also remember was the fact that she told us that we were going to need to have a pretty strong stomach because the smell of formaldehyde was very, very strong and could be nauseating, and sometimes students would vomit. And I remember the first day, the smell of formaldehyde, almost everyone in my class became extremely nauseous because of the smell. But what I found quite interesting was I actually enjoyed the smell, or I didn't mind the smell. I actually found it quite pleasant. And that may have been the fact that I was associating that smell with the fact that I could actually cut into a cat. And I know it sounds a little dark, but that was my first experience where I was kind of like, yes, I want to do medicine. I want to do biology. I want to learn more about this field. And I guess that ended up pushing me to pursue molecular biology while I was at UC Berkeley. But before I go into what I did at UC Berkeley and the clubs I joined, the courses I took at UC Berkeley, I think I should also talk about what I did in high school, outside of the classes. And interestingly enough, I didn't focus entirely just on medicine, biology, healthcare while I was in high school. I did a lot of other things, and I think high school students should feel free to explore other realms or do what they're truly passionate about, and then you'll find that those will help you further your passions in actual field of biology or healthcare. So for example, while I was in high school, I was a 3-season athlete. I played football, wrestled, and I did track. And I also did wrestling like year long. So like on top of it doing it in high school, I did wrestling year long, like off season. But I volunteered at local tutoring communities like near my area, and I danced a lot. I did Mexican folklore, hip hop, ballet, quite a few different types of dancing. And interestingly enough, like it was because of these experiences outside of biology that I learned very valuable lessons. Traits like perseverance, humility, dependability, and adaptability. All these skills that are very important for you to be a good medical provider were learned outside of biology courses or the biology realm. And I ended up using those traits and skills to then pursue my passion in medicine. And I think it's important for high school students to know that, and even college students to know that when you're going to a particular field, whether it be biology, chemistry, engineering, art, you need to realize that your entire world doesn't need to revolve around that specific field all the time. And what I mean by that is like, you don't have to focus only doing biology, meaning doing biology summer programs, biology reading all the time, looking into research. Do things that interest you. You're still, a high school student. I was 15, 16, 17 years old, and I was a kid still then. I still feel very young, and I was doing I was playing sports, I was hanging out with my friends, I was, had a girlfriend at the time, I was dancing, I was volunteering, all things that are very, very important, that are important for your upbringing. And I think where I did a lot of my searching into biology and medicine was in the classes and courses I took at high school. And again, this is not to dissuade you from pursuing only a biology, route. If you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. But I guess my point in saying this is that it's okay if you don't do everything in biology. It's okay for you to explore other areas and still feel very passionate about medicine. And I guess an example I could give about this would be kind of like a personal anecdote. Is like, there was a summer where I was trying to decide whether I wanted to go to a summer football camp or if I wanted to go to a biology, neuroscience camp. And I just thought about it long and hard, and I ended up going to the football camp. And it's not because I don't like science or I don't like biology, but I did it because I wanted to get better at football. At the time, I really wanted to make the varsity line, and that was what I really was passionate about doing. And I think in doing so, I think I learned something about myself, is that if I work really hard to achieve a certain goal, I can obtain it. And I think that's what's ultimately important, right? I think the message is that you should be doing experiences that will ultimately be very impactful and help you grow as a student. And I think that's something that you can do anything outside of biology, but it's what you do outside of those things that will help you then become a better student, I guess, in biology. I don't know if that made sense, but yeah. So as I'm rambling on, I guess the big question is, what should a high school student do that's interested in biology? Like, what should I be doing? Like, you're telling me, hey, Miguel, like, you're telling that I need to do this, do that, and don't really focus about doing biology, but like, I'm actually interested in biology and I want to learn more. So I guess there's no one single answer for everyone, because everyone's journey is going to be different. But I guess the best place to start, based off my own experience, were the classes I took in high school. I took biology, chemistry, physics, and those are all great starting points to explore the realm of biological sciences. And I would encourage you guys, if you guys find those classes very interesting, to then take on the AP equivalents of those courses. So AP Bio, AP Chemistry, AP Physics. And if your courses offer other classes like mine did, like anatomy and physio, maybe psychology, environmental sciences, philosophy, other sciences that will allow you to immerse yourself further into the sciences, the topics, the other disciplines of biology, it'll help you see that, okay, biology is that vast, it's huge. And it'll help you see that, biology isn't just cells, or biology just isn't, living organisms. There's viruses, bacteria, bunch of different cells. And I think in immersing yourself in the disciplines of biology is what's going to allow you to see that it's so multifaceted that you'll hopefully find something that sparks an interest in you, and like something that you're like, whoa, I did not know that, or whoa, I want to learn more about that. And then you take that and kind of go with it. And hopefully while you're going with it, you start uncovering different opportunities. And like I said, for me, that was the anatomy and physio course, and I ended up being lucky enough to be accepted to UC Berkeley, where I could explore then molecular biology and other courses. But then you're saying, hey, Miguel, like, I'm a 3-time seasoned athlete as well. I have to work. I have clubs that I'm participating. I can't take all these AP courses because my grades will suffer. And I guess to those students, I would say then, like, hey, try taking at least one AP course if you can, because it's going to show colleges that you're at least attempting to further your interest or your passion in a specific realm of biology, right? So I would say maybe AP biology, or maybe AP environmental sciences, something that shows you that you're trying to take that extra step to pursue your passion. But I think regardless of whether you take APs or not, I think the biggest goal for anyone trying to pursue a field of biology, a field of medicine, a field in healthcare, is that you really are trying to get into college, right? So the goal is for you to do well in high school, then move on to a 4-year, or maybe for you to go on to community college and then transfer to a 4-year, But the reason I even mention this is that there's time for you to explore biology, medicine, while you go into college or while you're in community college. And as a high school student, and if the only thing that you can say is, hey, I'm interested in biology, or I think biology is cool, or I think, hey, science is cool, then great, I think that's a great start, because, a lot of high school students sometimes don't even know what they're interested in. And that's not to say that it's a bad thing, but, as a high school student, you are relatively young. And looking back when I was 15, 16 years old, I'm like, wow, like I was a kid. But yeah, I think with the classes in high school, that's where you can initially start and hopefully uncover your interest or those questions that you have. And like I said, I was fortunate enough to major at UC Berkeley in molecular biology. And again, I was fortunate enough to know the major I wanted to go into. I did a little bit of research. But again, not every student knows what majors they're going to want to go into when they go into undergrad or community college. And again, that's okay, because the first year, basically everyone goes undeclared. And I think that's great for students in high school, and even college students know, is that there's no that pressure that you need to like rush to know what you want to do or what you want to major in, because your major can change along the path during your undergraduate career. And I think that allows you the flexibility to explore other classes and explore clubs and explore really the campus of whatever school you're going to. And I would really encourage high school students that are going to matriculate to college is to really explore the resources that are available for you, like tutoring centers, advisors, upperclassmen, because they themselves have gone through the ringer already, and they're going to understand the system. And I say the system because you kind of need to learn how to navigate the school system and understand what classes you will take as an undergraduate. So what I mean by that is you're going to be taking a lot of biology classes, a lot of chemistry classes, a lot of organic chemistry classes, prerequisites necessary to go into medical school if that's the route you want to go to, or to pursue a PhD if that's what you want to go to. And sometimes learning how to pair classes specifically is a big thing that we're not taught or we're not understanding. And understanding that sometimes classes get full, sometimes you have to be on a wait list. And again, I can go on and on about what classes you pair with which in college, but that's maybe something that I can talk about on a later podcast. And but yeah, just to give you an example of like not a pairing I would recommend is, say you're taking intro level biology, which is like biology 1A at UC Berkeley, and then you try to pair that with your first series of organic chemistry, and then you're thinking, oh, I can add physics along with that. That's 3 courses in addition to 3 labs you're going to take, in addition to what other general education class you might take, whether it be like sociology or history. And so it ends up being a lot. It ends up adding up a lot of work because it almost feels like you're taking 7 classes, 3 courses, 3 labs, and then your other additional general education course. So I think understanding how to navigate the system is quite important for you not to feel burned out, but also for you to like not get tired of the information and feel like, you know what, I actually don't like medicine. I actually don't want to do this. And it's because of you're overwhelming yourself, right? So there's a good balance. So while I was at UC Berkeley, yeah, classes were hard, and I understood how to take classes, but I guess I was doing other things as well. So I joined a club, and I think that is very important, not in high school and in college, is for you to have somewhere, to de-stress. And I think that's why I always say that it's at least I advocate for not always doing just science. If a big chunk of your world is science, but then there's like a little part that, that's not science, great. The balance is different for everybody. And I think finding that balance for you is key, for you to pursue the passion in medicine, biology, or healthcare, for it to be healthy, So while I was at UC Berkeley, again, I did dance for Salsa Cal. I was a president. I taught a decal. And a decal basically was like instruction like of the history of salsa, but then the last hour was teaching just dancing. I became an ENT to get clinical experience. I did 2 summers volunteering for an internship at Johns Hopkins, where I was an advanced medicine academic advisor. And what that entails is basically what I'm kind of doing right now is just I would shadow surgeons, doctors, and I would then teach high school students about healthcare, the different branches of healthcare. There's nurses, nurse practitioners, physicians, surgeons, EMTs, paramedics, fire, healthcare, biology science is huge. So I think understanding that how big it is for you to see that, if you can't find your passion immediately, that it's okay. We'll work with you to try to find that passion, that thing that burns deep with you, and that you really, really want to do this. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's time as a high school student. There's definitely time for you to find and further your passion into medicine, or further your passion into biology. And I think that starts in the classroom, but also it starts with the activities you do outside of biology. I think those lessons that you learn outside of biology are very valuable. And I guess a way I could put it into context for you is like wrestling. I coach wrestling, and as a coach, you need to learn how to adapt to different situations, and that you're watching your wrestler, wrestle a different opponent, and they're, they might throw a high crotch, a double leg, and you're watching the opponent trying to adapt to see how you change. And I think I took that into practice, while I was an EMT. Sometimes you're in the back of an ambulance and you have a patient that's, having issues breathing. So then you start them on, oxygen via a nasal cannula, but that doesn't work. So then you have to adapt to the situation, put them on a non-rebreather, via high flow oxygen. And so you see how you can kind of intertwine in the lessons that you learn outside of biology, like wrestling, which was like perseverance, adaptability, thinking on the fly, is things that we're then able to correlate or but segue, I guess, into my EMT work. And I think that's very important if you can find those parallels, and find parallels, outside of your biology and into biology, and how those connect. But yeah, I think also what I would highly recommend for high school students, and even college students, is keep a journal of everything you do, things that you find interesting, things that you find important, things that, there might be a quote that you might want to jot down, things that are like, you're like, whoa, that's something I haven't thought about it that way, whether it be in biology, medicine, or any other field. I think it's very important for you to jot those memories down, because then later down on the road, when you're writing your personal statements, or applying for scholarships, whether they be in biology or healthcare, you can use those experiences or those stories or those narratives to help you formulate a story as to why you're passionate about the given field. And yeah, I think that's very, very cool and very important for you to do. I wish that someone would have told me earlier to do that, because when you're trying to fill out an application and trying to do all this, it can become stressful. But more important than anything is just understand that any field that you go into is going to be stressful, and it is going to be a little hard. And I think college definitely showed me that, but I think it also taught me a lot about myself and how much I can truly handle as a student, as an individual. So I think that's important too, because we're our harshest critic. I criticize myself a lot, and I think any individual thinks that what they do isn't enough. Because there were times where I was juggling multiple commitments and responsibilities, and I still thought like, hey, I'm not doing enough. But I think you need to take a breath or take a step back sometimes and understand like, hey, I'm actually doing a good amount, and I am doing the things that I need necessary to pursue my passion, my career. And you need to understand that, maybe because you're not doing what another person is doing over there, or what another person is doing over there, that's not putting you at a disadvantage, or making what you're doing is any less. And I think that understanding that is very important. Understanding the bigger picture, that reminding you what you're striving for and what you're trying to do, and that you will get there somehow. It's just a matter of when, not if that makes sense. And once you get that mentality, or start thinking in that way, you start thinking like, medicine, engineering, chemistry, whatever realm it may be, like no one's path or journey is exactly the same. So what worked for me may not work for you. But that's not to say that you can't use, my own experiences or whatever information I've given you today to help you out, to navigate your own experience, or to uncover your own journey. And again, I just hope that the small part of my story that I shared with you guys today will help you navigate or help you, find those passions in the biological sciences world. And I really look forward to sharing more and possibly talking with a few of you guys. So thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.